you. Oh, here we go.
You had to start the recording for that?
Here we go.
Hold on. We just excited. He wants to get saying happy birthday.
Oh, that one backfired on you real quick.
This is like his Coffee Talk family, and family sing happy birthday, and it's American and somber and weirdly like sounds like a funeral song, but it's amazing.
Okay, ready, everybody? Oh man, I'm not gonna do this if there's only 3 people unmuted.
No, we're gonna do it. Doesn't matter. We're all gonna do it.
We're all seeing it. Let's go.
Okay, lead us off, Mr. Young.
1,
1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday
to you. Happy birthday, Daniel. Happy birthday to you. Hey, Daniel.
Happy birthday.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Oh, off tune.
Right on, Daniel.
That recording going on Facebook real quick.
Yeah, that's going on Facebook. All right, on. Well, we love you, Daniel. Thanks for everything, man. You've helped us in so many ways. But I think Keikoa is unavailable because he's in somewhere in the world. You can never track this guy down. But why don't we get started? How's everybody's Friday? And also, is there any leads, needs, or good deeds people want to talk about? Just unmute, then hop in.
Guys, I'm going to introduce you guys to Tom. He already talked a little bit. He's an agent here on the island. He talked about how awesome we are as Americans and our military force. But he also works with some investors, probably not too many people that are on this call, but he also has some off-market property. So I think he'd be a good resource for us local people to be associated with, just so you guys know.
Perfect. What's up, Tom?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thanks for the invite, Alexander. I was actually going to shout out this guy. He's been awesome. Been a ton of fun getting to know him, and we've been learning kind of just back and forth from each other and like figuring out ways we can help each other out on the island. But yeah, I'm excited to be part of the joining on the group. Sorry, I'm busy on Fridays. I'm also a yoga teacher. I typically dress really casually. It's just my thing. But I also work with a lot of buyers. So you guys know I'm like a chicken running around with my head cut off right now. Shit just sucks. But I love doing it. It's fun. It's what I like to do. So yeah, glad to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You got anything that you got to unload right now? Or are you wholesaling? Are you mainly focusing on retail sales and transactions?
Yeah, I'm mainly a residential realtor. I mainly started with VA clients, so a lot of veterans, helping them purchase. And then as the years went on, it was mainly veterans, but doing sales and purchases. And then now at this point, I have a different array of, first-time home buyers, lots of investors I'm working with, especially this year. A ton of people are interested in property in Hawaii. So we're out there every single day showing properties, making offers. Essentially, I just fight to get them the best price possible. Coming across a lot of FSBOs and just off-market properties. And then that's what I'm kind of throwing towards my investors, but my guys aren't really as big into like the hard money loans, like big time flip investments, like a lot of you guys are. So I'm just going to start rolling those straight over to Alexander just because I can't work with them, but I'd like to see some people work with them and kind of help the people sell their property, but not only help build up Hawaii to some new awesome homes and residences, businesses, offices, any kind of improvements that make the island look better and more valuable, in my opinion, is great. Why might as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, thanks for joining us and hopping on.
Yeah, I've heard good things about you, Corey. Glad to be here. Thanks, man.
Thanks, man. Awesome. Hey, I'm curious to see what's the latest. What are you doing, Kamohai? You interested? How's life? What deals are you working on?
Good, man. Super good. We're just we're getting ready to list one in Aiea Heights. It's going live on Monday. We just had it staged yesterday. Photos tomorrow, and then we're listing on Monday. And then we're doing 4 other ones in mid construction. We got one in Kailua. We just started a condo in Woodrose, right above Don Quixote's.
Okay.
And then,
yep.
Yeah, two Waikiki condos, but we're gonna keep those and burr them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Man, you guys got a lot going on. How many projects is that?
5 right now. We have 3 in escrow to buy. But I mean, yeah, we're buying. So let me know.
Nice. Yeah.
I'd love to sit down and talk with you, Tom. That would be awesome.
Sweet.
Yeah, let's chat. I know some properties might interest you actually. I was already like discussing with Alexander, so let's definitely link up later. I'll put my message my number in the chat if you want to send me a message.
Yeah, for sure. Right on, man.
Did you guys see that new tax? I got an email from my CPA. I'm trying to find it right now, but how they're flagging people who are refinancing too soon after purchasing, and how it's triggering audits more now than ever before. It's always done that, but it just made me think of everyone who's doing BRRRRs right now. They're going heavy on triggering audits when you do that. So just make sure you time that out, talk to your CPA, time that out. So you just wait enough time.
Yeah, I'm so new to that space, like literally just talking with Daniel as much as possible. So I haven't heard about that or even know. So that's definitely something that I'll keep an eye out for and look into for sure.
When I sent the email, I sent it to Daniel and to you guys. They're saying it's not just triggering an audit, but they're gonna flag it as fraud.
Oh wow.
Fraud.
So, yeah, because you're essentially trying to cheat something about the system of getting, like, it's how you shelter your money, and they're starting to see that a lot of people are doing it, and that it's honestly, I wish I knew a little bit more about it. I just briefly grazed over the email, but I was just thinking immediately like, oh, this affects BRRRRs because they're considering it fraud.
Is that for primary residents? Maybe not.
Can you send that to me, Ashley? I'm curious, because then there's some creative stuff about how you can refinance quicker than 6 months by doing a rate in term with your LLC or a partner. But I'm wondering if that's what's related to, or I mean, just the more information I think we can get on that, I would like to see that.
Yeah, I'll email it to you. It definitely was after the 6 month mark, though. I think it was something to do like a year. Like there's a certain amount of time you want to hold it before you refinance, and I remember it being more than 6 months. I'll email it to you though.
That is.
Just to clarify, are you saying that it sounded like the question is whether doing a BRRRR is a way of generating income that should be taxable? And that's how
I was reading it. It was along the lines of, it wasn't referring to BRRRRs. It was referring to doing refis and
like cash out refis, HELOCs, anything where you had just purchased a property, or if you had just refinanced a property and then you went to go take out, it was multiple different strategies where you're leveraging the asset too soon after getting a low interest rate or some type of refi. And I just associated that with BRRRRs. Why don't I just email everyone who messages me? Drop it in the chat. So because people are asking for it in the chat. Yeah, that's something to look into. That'd be a game changer. So
we advise 6 months on our end. I know Steve's got some stories, some examples, but essentially for the normal mortgage process, if you purchase it under a primary and then you refinance, we're typically saying 6 months. What people are running into is if they're refinancing from a primary to an investment property within that time frame, or even just 2 primaries, and they're going to use it as an investment property, it could be considered mortgage fraud. Not only could the borrower get fined and potentially go to jail, so could anyone working on the loan too. So we advise 6 months. I know there's ways to get around it, but I'd love to read that article too.
It might have been 6 months. I really need to find this article because I want to make sure I get back.
6 months wouldn't be too bad.
It was something to be aware of, where it was definitely on high alert this year, and they were putting extra focus on it. And I'll find it. So it might be 6 months, or I think something had changed. I'll find it.
Steve's got some stories.
I'm sure he does. I'm sure you got some stories too, Matt. We all got some stories. Like me and Alex can talk. Oh man, when we're done, we'll do something about that. Maybe we'll put it in a book or something, because sometimes you just gotta laugh at each other. Like, this is crazy.
Keiko memoirs.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, does anybody else have anything they need?
I may we're needing Gap, or I may have some they're selling their home here in Texas. They're planning to sell quick. They're actually flying to Texas next week to do some shopping, and they may need some Gap funding. They have tons of equity, so they're in good shape. But yeah, I'll let you
What
guys
state?
know.
What state?
Texas. They're here in Washington, going to sell in Washington and move to Texas.
Wow.
So, I mean, they'll be able to buy like a, 10-acre plot of land, great house, everything they want, and have like 400,000 or 500,000 tucked in the bank, so for what they have here. But yeah.
I'll give you and Alex a call later as well. I got a potential construction deal in Washington. They're just looking to get a lower rate than what I can offer. So maybe you guys can sneak in and steal it.
Cool. All righty. Well, I see Keiko is back with us. What's up, bro? You back in civilization?
We're on the Oregon coast. It's very windy here. Sorry.
Are you guys gonna be in Redwoods, California, or in?
Because you guys are gonna camp there too, right?
I have no idea, actually. I'm just going along for the ride. But
I'll talk to Ashley. We'll go camping together.
The only way I can meet up with Keiko is like on vacation, apparently. Yeah, bro.
We're always on vacation.
Gotta have a pool.
We're always
gotta have a gym.
We're on our annual 4-week RV vacation. So we're headed south and we're headed somewhere east, and then sometime in the next 4 weeks we'll head home. So we'll be here.
That's awesome.
If anybody's out on your RVs or driving around, let us know. We can hook up and have lunch or barbecue.
That's awesome. But let's be honest, bro. Everybody knows it's not annual. It's like quarterly, right?
Monthly. That's why we do real estate, so we don't have to sit in an office.
Exactly. That's why we're all here, right? Well, we actually have something coming up, and I actually have like 3 things to talk about. I hope I don't forget them. But Keiko and I are looking at a deal. And it's an interesting story that he invested in Kalihi here in Hawaii. And it looks like we're going to be buying it back. So there's a couple of things. I mean, perhaps maybe this is a coffee talk thing. We can run the deals and get everyone's opinion, like tell them the situation, put our heads together and see, right, if this is something worth executing on. I don't know, maybe sometime next week we can have a quick segment, because we'd love your guys' open opinion. And basically, Keiko was a private lender on a deal. His funds got stuck. The developer went upside down. So we're trying to decide whether or not it's worth buying it and taking it home just to get the cash out. But it's tight. It's a tight deal, and it has a lot of red tape when it comes to permitting and violations and stuff. So maybe we can get everyone's collective opinion on it on another call, maybe next week.
Yeah, would that be interesting to anybody to hear about that type of story? We don't want to definitely take up anybody's time, but if it's of interest, just drop it in the chat. But it definitely is an interesting situation where we were private money lenders with a local investor on Oahu, and that investor didn't do a good job, and so then our money got stuck, and now it's been about 5 years, and we've been staying in really good contact with not the investor, but we're staying in good contact with his lender. And so the lender, it took us 2 years now to try to get this deal from foreclosure. And finally, just last week, the lender emailed me, is like, hey, we'll be willing to take this number, the number that I was offering. And so it's interesting, because for us, we're trying to sort through, is it even worth it? But, I've got 6 figures in the deal, and I don't know. I'd kind of like to get some money out of it, more out of principle. But if it's interesting, we can go through it all together and try to sort through it. We're still trying to figure it out. It's pretty dramatic in terms of, the whole story. So, we'll see. But if you're interested, drop it in the thing, and then if there's enough interest, we'll try to pull something together.
Yeah. I think it'd be a lot of learning lessons in there. But yeah, that's
there was for me. Don't lend your money to just anybody.
Yeah, true. Okay, and then the other thing was, does anybody have? Because I love deal analysis. You know, when people share their deals and stuff. So, and it's been a while since we've had somebody on to do that. So, if anybody has a deal that they'd like to talk about or share, even if you lost money on the deal, you know, like there's probably more learning lessons, you know, out of those than anything else. So please reach out to me or Kekoa or anyone on the team or Alex we can set something up, because we have deals to go over, but I think we talked too much already. So I want to hear from everybody else, see what everybody else is doing, how they analyze deals. I'd love to, you know, start that up again every, you know, few weeks, but let us know. Shucks, here you go. I did forget the third one. I forget what I was going to say now on the third one. I do that.
Okay, all of us know you well. We all know you forget a lot, so you know it's all good.
Right, I know. It's a running joke.
It is. Right? We all joke behind your back, but now that you bring it up, we actually wanted to have.
You don't joke behind my back. It's in front of everybody all the time, but it's okay. I love you. You missed our birthday song. Kekoa has a good voice.
No. I listened to it. I was like, man, we should definitely not release an album, but you know.
Hey, speak for yourself.
We're gonna start a choir, you know.
A choir, yeah. I think about 50 million churches would pay us to not sing in their choir, but that'd be great.
Yeah, then we can retire. We're good to go.
Cash flow right there. If church is paying us.
That's awesome. Happy birthday, Daniel.
Oh, I just remember what it was. I was gonna say.
Oh, wow.
If I can put it out there to everybody, just to keep in your back of your minds, let's think of ways, something fun, you know, that maybe perhaps that we can all work on together. Maybe it's some sort of charity or something, or cause to give back to. The point is, we're all pretty much, everyone on the call is pretty much has this entrepreneur spirit, you know. So it's just kind of would be interesting and nice and fulfilling for myself, and I think for our whole team, to put our heads together, be creative about something, whether it's giving to an organization that we all believe in, or hooing up together, coming together to for a single purpose. Maybe it's a deal, you know, maybe we all chip in, we do a big syndication, a coffee talk syndication to take down a deal. Kekoa is looking at some big ones for us. I mean, not big ones, but decent size, something that I think we could all, you know, handle. But just putting it out there so that we're more than just a Friday call to hear what everyone's doing, see if there's any deals, make any connections together. But let's see how far we can take this. You know, there's a lot of smart people on the call every week, and there's a lot of resources too. And I just want to say, a lot of the resources, they don't turn their cameras on as well, you know. So, but I know there's a lot of private lenders on the call. There's a lot of heavy developers as well. So let's try to network a little closer and drive towards a single cause. Keep that in the back of your minds. If anybody has suggestions, then please reach out to us and let us know.
Yeah,
all
Corey,
right.
I was actually brainstorming with Alexander yesterday. Before I got into real estate, I was a personal trainer for a long time. And I had this idea of building a cool, like, natural wellness clinic in Honolulu. So Alexander actually brought up this big medical building that's sitting there doing nothing. He was like, that'd be a cool place for it, right? But it's a big building, it'd require a lot, but that's some stuff that we're kind of like getting the wheels turning on. And I'd be really excited to work with people to bring something like that to the island to really help a lot of people, because we don't have a lot of these like new age technologies that they're using in California, the natural remedies that are really helping people, you know, with getting them off the painkillers and all that stuff like that. I'd love to kind of help the state and push that forward. If anybody's interested, we can definitely team up.
That is awesome. Interesting. Okay. Very
cool. Tom, that's actually how Corey and I met. We were both personal trainers. And then I trained Corey, and then he didn't get any bigger, so I fired him.
He gave up on me.
Yeah, I introduced Alexander to my real estate protege, if you will, yesterday, Skylar. He's actually a personal trainer as well. We work together, so you guys will like Skylar. He'd get along with everybody in this group, just like us, all entrepreneurial mindsets. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
but that's a great thing, Corey, that you're bringing up in regards to, what are some topics that some of us are utilizing, things that we're thinking through so we can brainstorm together. Like you mentioned, we're doing this large scale 158 unit. Actually, we're buying 2 more. So it's 160 unit apartment building in Vegas. And we're doing our first major syndication. And there's just so much to learn and so many experiences that it'd be great if anybody's done a syndication and hosted a syndication, hit me up, because I've got a lot we're trying to figure out. But as we learn it, if anybody's interested, happy to share anything that we're putting together. Because if we can close this one, we could probably do 160 to 300 door properties probably every other month, because it's just a template. It's like flipping houses. You just flip syndications. But yeah, if anybody's got any experience, please let me know. I'm trying to figure some stuff out right
now. Yeah, I got an idea for us too. Churches. Nobody likes to lend on churches, guys. That's including Keiko Capital. We're not lending on churches at this time, but it's a industry that has a need for those properties to be rehabbed, to be purchased. So if that's something that we could all get behind as a group, I know we have somebody that is very affiliated with that community, and I think he could help lead the charge where it would be okay for us to do those type of deals. But it would have to be.
Why is it that people don't lend to churches?
Nobody wants to take God's house. They don't want to foreclose on it.
Oh, foreclose on it.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody wants to foreclose on the church.
No one wants to take it back. So like that's the risk you're taking. But I feel like if we did it as a group, I mean, we could even start it as a nonprofit or something, however we decided to approach it. But if we decided to do it and get men of church and women of church and men and women of faith to be the investment group behind it, and it was managed by people of faith, then I feel like it'd be a different purpose. Because if we did come in and foreclose and take the asset, we wouldn't take it and then repurpose it and send it in a new direction. It would be to just put new management in there or operators to take over that church. But I know there's a huge opportunity across the entire US for that, because nobody likes to lend to church.
Yeah, I actually ran across a situation like that. It was a CrossFit gym trying to expand, and the church next door had a ton of extra space. So they were actually trying to acquire just part of that parish, and it was kind of more difficult, but the price they were giving them was like ridiculous. Like it was such a good price. So I definitely agree with Alexander. There's a huge market for something like that if you're willing to dive into it. And when you think about foreclosures, like nobody wants to do that to God's house, like you said, but it's the same thing. I know a lot of lenders realtors that focus on foreclosure market, and in their heads, they're helping these families do something good. So they're not taking anything away from the family. They're actually helping the family get out from underneath this huge burden. So if there's parishes like that are just burdened, they're not going anywhere, and potentially us coming in and helping them foreclose and do something new with it could actually help them out drastically, right? Versus hurt them.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's a great idea. And churches are, sometimes, like, I'll tell a story. I can't even remember. It might have been 6 years ago. There was a Buddhist temple in downtown Honolulu, and sometimes people leave their inheritance or their assets to the church when they pass away, and this temple was kind of given 2 houses, and the temple right next to the temple. When the owner passed away, who was a member of the temple, and the temple didn't want the houses on there, but it was like 10 grand to demolish and scrape the property, because they wanted to build a Zen garden, or like a rock Zen garden. And so one of our guys got wind of that, and so they were willing to give us the houses for free, if we were to just move the houses and do the demo for them. So basically we got 2 houses for like 20 grand because we had to just, but what we did, we had to move the houses from downtown to another, to North Shore on Oahu. And that was pretty crazy because they had to cut, one of the houses was too big. So they had to cut the house in half and then they put it on the truck. And then in the middle of the night, you know, we're following the truck and they're driving, like you see a house on a truck driving through the road. It's crazy. I've never seen, like I after we've done that, I've seen it a couple of other times, but you rarely ever see a house driving down the freeway, you know, and the reason is because they do it at late at night, right? When the traffic's low. And that process was a big learning process because there's so much, I guess, red tape to go through where you have to deal with the city and making sure the traffic department, making sure like the police department is notified so that they plan your route, because you have to think about the overhead cables and street lights, you know. So every now and then, and these guys didn't go slow, they were driving fast, but every now and then you'll see them take a big swerve. We're like, what are they doing? You know, and it's because they're going to hit the street light. That's why. So it was so interesting, but we'll never do that again. That was too crazy. It took too long. Even though we got the houses for free, it was like, oh, was it really worth it? I don't know. You know, so I guess if we can tell the stories later, which I'm doing now, then maybe it's worth it. But it was a lot of time and energy for that one. So more headaches than it was worth, I think. But the churches, if you know people in the churches and stuff, they're a good group to know, because sometimes there's issues like that come about, right? Where they inherit properties, but they don't really want the properties. They want to just sell it, you know, quickly. And we could perhaps come in there and provide them the capital in exchange for the house. And then we do what we do best, you know, we fix it up, put it back on the market, and another house for another family. So churches is a good avenue. But there's already some great ideas that I'm getting in messages. So maybe perhaps we'll be able to move on one of these soon. That'll be cool. Anyways, all right. So nobody has any deals they're working on that need funding, any funds that need to get some return on investment? Nothing? Somebody's got something.
I've got a deal, not that needs funding. We're closing today.
Oh, okay. Nice. What's up, Ben?
It's a condo in Everett, Washington.
Awesome. Are you guys flipped it or?
Yeah, we're probably going to flip it. It would cash flow a little bit if we had to keep it as a rental, but not really the numbers that we're looking for on rentals. So yeah, probably just a quick turnaround. It's real cosmetic, no structural or anything. So it should be a quick little project.
The market in Everett must be pretty hot, yeah?
Oh, it's hot everywhere around here. It's crazy. Yeah. We're just trying to find, you know, even slim margins, anything, because there's just not much available.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely, I've still got some capital, so I'm still looking for stuff. And this one should be pretty quick. So as soon as I get that turned around, I'll be looking for more deals.
Well, there you go, guys. Ben's looking for something. Thanks, Ben.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do a deal analysis too later on it if you want.
Yeah.
If anybody's
with it in there.
Let me know. We can set that up.
And usually, quick shout out to Matt. I had a quick question for him, kind of obscure about condo financing, thing about when we list it, and he did a deep dive for me and found some good info for me. So thanks for that, Matt.
Absolutely, happy to help.
Everett has the Rucker Mansion for sale. If you want to buy, like, I'm gonna post the link. It's a pretty cool. If you want, to buy a historic spot there in Everett, I just posted. It's hilarious. It's pretty cool when you get some of these like history type buildings or houses that you can buy and live in.
The views from up there are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Everett's got some nice old places. Yeah. I haven't jumped into any of those really old ones yet because they need a whole lot of work, but there's some pretty interesting opportunities up there if that's your thing.
They did some. I was looking at the renovations. It's pretty cool. That's how the weather looks right now too. If you're actually looking at the listing, it's just
it's gorgeous.
Like that.
Different type of beautiful.
Well, yeah, thanks, man. Maybe we'll do a deal analysis. And if anybody has one that, again, like reach out to us for sure. Basically, what we like to see is everything. So how'd you find the deal? How'd you fund the deal? What did you buy it at? Renovation price, holding time, holding costs, right? And what was your exit strategy? Whether are you holding it? Are you going to sell it? So I love that. I don't know. You can ask Ashley and probably everyone on our team. Like I geek out on these YouTube short documentaries about like the rise and fall of Blockbuster or something like that. Like I just love looking at like that structure, people's businesses. I'm just nosy. I think I'm just nosy. I want to know everything.
I got an investment property that I'm looking to either add to or remodel. I'm getting some numbers right now, but once I have actual numbers, I'll bring it to you. See what you all think about it. That's really why I'm watching the lumber prices right now to see if it's makes sense to build versus just remodel. But I'll get another agent I work with on here. He just bought a duplex out in Bremerton, Washington area. He just some quick numbers. He'll definitely dive in a lot deeper than I will, but he bought it for $495 with 25% down. And then that brings his mortgage out to about $2,700 a month. The current lease included is about $3,100 for both, or $3,100 combined for both sides. So he's certainly making profit. But the reason that I love talking to this guy about investments is he really focuses on the Section 8, and that's something I've never really dealt with. So in that area with the two different sides, he's instead of doing 1550 on each side, once they get out and he switches it to Section 8, it's going to be closer to $2,000 on each side. So obviously he'll get some from the renters and some from the state, but he is going to go from $3,100 a month with about $400 profit to $4,000 a month with $1,300 profit. So awesome deal. 6 months down the road is when he's switching it, but it was a really cool deal to watch.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Washington State is great because you have a good mix between. Was that Washington State?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a good mix between like equity neighborhoods and cash flow neighborhoods, and whereas like Hawaii's really equity strong, but not it's weak in the cash flow. So, but appreciation is great, right? So
exactly.
Yeah. Well,
there was one property. Is an apartment building, 15 units, and then it came with a secondary with 2. It popped up like 3 days ago. I was going to bring it up. Already under pending. Yeah, this one was right across from Everett Community College. So basically, it'd be a great college apartment building setup. It looked like it needed minor renovations, but
in the chat.
Oh, you posted it? Yeah, it looks like it's pending. So only took a few days, and someone went after it.
Oh, this is what you're talking about?
Yeah, it was a 15-unit building, and then I had a separate house right next door that was a duplex, and then definitely run down, but on the side of the property, the guy built up storage units, and he has rental income coming from those as well. All said and done, each unit, it was coming out to about 126 per unit, or 126 grand per unit, and definitely can make a lot more money than that. Right now, I think it was 125 grand per year profit on it, but you can bump it up a lot more.
Yeah, you can clean it up a little bit. Yeah, it had a lot of potential. Looks like someone saw the same thing.
Shoot, that duplex, you could turn around and fix it up and sell it for 400 or 500 easily.
How many units is in there?
15 in the building. The duplex was the home, and I think it was like 10 storage units. "Quote unquote" storage units. They were definitely some guy put it together, not professionally done, but he's getting rent on it.
Yeah, it's interesting you guys say that about the duplexes in Section 8. My father actually owns a couple of duplexes in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and it's in a Section 8 area, and he's always lost money on it pretty much every year, except for last year during coronavirus. He actually made money because the payments were coming in automatically through the government.
Right.
So he actually fared well last year, better than any other year. It was pretty interesting how that works out, right?
Yeah.
That's super interesting.
Yeah, I hear mixed reviews about Section 8. Some people love it because it's consistent money from the government, and then the tenants have to, make sure that they maintain the property. They have to pay their side of it too. So if they don't, then they lose their voucher, right? So yeah. But I also heard the other stories on the other side too. Yeah.
During COVID, people really liked it because they're so getting
Yeah.
paid.
Yep. Does
Most of my
anybody
rentals are
have
Section 8.
any news or updates actually on the moratoriums for rent evictions and foreclosures? No. I know it got extended about a month ago, but so that's something to keep eyes on.
August, I believe, but it's likely going to go until the end of the year, and then it's still going to be like last time I mentioned the tiers system. So if they're only 1 month behind, then you have to do a mediation, and then that will be booked out 4 or 5 months out. The 2 months, then it'll be 4 months, etc. So only those who are 5 months or more behind are going to get their mediation appointments first and foremost, but it's going to be a disaster. They're already flooded with mediation. They don't have enough staff. It's not going to be well funded. So it's going to be rough for the next year or so for landlords in Hawaii.
Well, oh yeah, Matt just posted something. Eviction bans by state updated regularly. Nice.
I've been researching state by state, but this site I found they update on somewhat regular basis and they break down each individual state. So it's a quick view.
Oh, I like it. Thanks for sharing that. And Matt and Steve, you guys want to talk about latest on what the Fed? I know Jerome Powell, had his talk. So what's your guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'll let me get 3 more weeks and I get my new glasses. So until then, I have to put these on. So you can see. I'll actually. It was funny. Powell did his speech, and the market a lot on the retail side. Most everyone was locking on Wednesday before Powell's speech. Powell did his speech, and everything tanked. It dropped. For the market, I'll show the graphs. It'll actually show you like this huge drop. It hit resistance and stopped. And then Thursday and Friday, basically you see the market coming right back up. So the first chart is, I believe that was a 6 month. And then the other one is just showing June. If you look at the 6 month, it's like, whoa, we just see the market and everything's trending down. Powell did his speech, and the big thing that freaked people out was everything was pointing to bumping up the federal rates for sure in 2024. And instead, Powell announced that he's looking at doing 3 smaller bumps, and he's going to start sooner rather than later. And so that kind of, the markets in general kind of freaked out. But then if you go, and so that's why if you look at the chart, you see this huge drop, everything red. That's how the markets reacted. But then if you look, it's like, all right, as we're ending our week, everything's starting to go back up, nice, slowly. So it's pretty much, everyone was like, oh no, it's raining cats and dogs. And they're like, no, it's not. Actually, it's not that big of a deal. Everything's fine. So a lot of people, if they didn't lock, float. If you're not in a hurry, float your rate. They're not seeing anything really major happening. I know there's a couple other key things. Yeah, if you look at the monthly for June, it really didn't go anywhere. It's pretty much overall stayed like nice and straight, nice and even. We had some big reports end of May. They're looking at job market, inflation. This Friday, the stock market dropped. Normally when stock market drops, that way you'll also see mortgage rates. Some might do the same thing, but the bond market's actually been doing really well. So it's, people can get out of stocks. That's a common thing when it starts to drop. But we're not seeing that correlation with the mortgage market. It's like mortgage market, everything's staying, the same thing. The forecast is it's going to be that way for a while, is what we're hearing. But unless Powell comes and announces something crazy, which who knows. But yeah, I mean, job opportunities, job market went down a bit, but overall, or I should say, unemployment did rise. I think it's less than 500,000 jobs though, so it wasn't anything extremely dramatic. But overall, they're looking at the U.S. economy, continuing to get better. I mean, we're seeing it here. A lot more people are going to work and finding jobs and getting back on their feet. So,
yeah, it was it's hard to get through some of those speeches, man. It's just so dry, but it's necessary, right? It's like we got to keep eyes on the Fed, see what they're doing, because that does affect us. And fortunately, I mean, in my opinion, like real estate is usually a slow mover, so you get the news, everything else reacts, the stock market reacts, like that's like almost instantly. But for real estate, we have a little lead time, so that's a good thing where we can start, if we can get the news, gather as much information and data that we can, and then start making our moves, just in case, right? So COVID was a little rough for all the portfolios that's riding the capital markets, for like a good month, it was wasn't looking too good. But then it came back, right? Actually came back really quick. But real estate, now we're feeling like the trails that, of COVID, right? With the low supply in some, feeling the pain from when the supply chains were cut or limited. So it's definitely interesting times. I think in like 10 years, maybe even less, maybe in like 5 years, you'd be like, remember the times of COVID? Like that was crazy, right? It's such a roller coaster. But
it was. I think overall, we look at last year, our mindset, if we're going off of other issues that were similar, we're expecting tons of foreclosures. We're just looking at people that are out of work, they're not looking at work coming up, they're going to lose their house. That was a big focus a lot of people were looking at. But then, the federal government came in. No, we're going to put some protections in place. So I think that was big. Another thing, the big banks actually were proactive in helping people in forbearance, new payment restructuring. When we had the housing crisis, this is the complete opposite. You'd have one hand of Wells Fargo saying, let's redo your loan, but the other hand of Wells Fargo, the bankruptcy and foreclosure department, was processing their house at the same time.
Right.
All the big banks were doing that. Even during the 2010, when they were told you need to start helping these people out, they still had two hands. Like, oh yeah, we'll work on your loan, but we'll only work on it if you stop making one payment. You need to stop paying your mortgage, and then we'll be able to restructure it. Well, they do that, and then the foreclosure team is getting ready to foreclose on their house at the same time. We actually don't have that this time. We actually had, the big institutions are saying, all right, we're gonna play and make it happen. So that was at least good. I'm happy to see that happen. For U.S. as a country in general, having it where people aren't losing their homes. Yeah.
Well,
good.
What is your guys' thoughts on? Did you see Michael Burry, right? The Big Short, the investor who he bet against the housing market, right? Which was crazy back in 2006-ish, I think. I don't know when he actually shorted the market, but he's now saying that this is big problems. Like he's predicting like big inflation and a lot of hurt. So anybody have any insight on that or opinions?
I'd be interested to see how much it affects other markets. He specifically was talking about more of these meme stocks and specifically cryptocurrency. I think his comment was along the lines of Tesla playing around with cryptocurrencies, Elon Musk tweeting, and the price is going up and down. So he's seeing a lot of volatility there, but I would be very interested to see how it affects other markets and other industries.
Yeah, and he took a short position in Tesla as well, right? He thinks it's overvalued, right? Yeah, it's interesting to see because I wonder what type of news or data he's crunching. Smart guy, obviously.
Yeah,
so
that's how some of the big banks. I mean, it's all computerized, and they build these computer systems with hardwired, so they can, it makes millisecond decisions, and then they're making millions, multi-millions, because they're able to process and short, buy low, sell high, just in currencies alone. Make tons of money that way. So yeah, it's then I know what I read on the inflation, especially regarding real estate, they're not seeing as big of a correlation as they thought. So like the feds are still buying mortgage-backed, bonds, securities. It's like that's still going, and it really didn't adjust much, even though they are expecting the inflation to go up a bit. So yeah, I agree with Matt on. I read some that are saying cryptocurrency is the new gambling. It's not as safe of a bet as everyone was thinking it would be because it can be influenced so easily.
Yeah, it can be influenced so easily, and like oh gosh, I forget who mentioned that earlier on the call, but when they hacked the oil pipeline, right, and they paid 5 million in Bitcoin or whatever, like supposedly the government tracked it down and got some back, and then now it's causing people to wonder, how did they do that? Like Bitcoin's supposed to be like anonymous and encrypted or whatever it is that you can't get inside. But
yeah, people in China, when China was really constricting getting funds out because they're saying everyone get their money out, put it in US real estate, and they limited how much money could be sent over per month and per year. So what they were doing was sending it, doing Bitcoin to Canada. And then in Canada, they're converting it to US dollars and buying real estate, getting their cash out of China, Hong Kong. Yeah, Bitcoin to Canada, convert to US currency, and then buying properties here. So I think Canada was wanting to, they were putting some regulations in, but I know the last 3 years that was a common, using Bitcoin to get around their country's financial.
Yeah. I saw a meme the other day, actually, maybe it was a couple of weeks ago, about like, I guess friends don't let friends become billionaires in China or something like that. Because it's kind of crazy, what's going on over there. There's so many, not just Jack Ma, it's a lot of real estate tycoons who went to prison, and supposedly because of fraud and all types of stuff, right? But really it's because they're speaking up against the government, the Chinese government, so the party. But China's a big, also a big entity to look out for and watch for, because there's a lot, they're making a lot of moves. They had like 100-year plan on how to become the world superpower, and they're not like ashamed of it. They're not trying to hide it or anything. They're pretty like, and they've made some big moves right over the last decade.
Yeah. So Son's mom, is from Hong Kong, and all the relatives and family is still over there. So we get the stories. Some are from mainland China, and they'll send us some insights. And it is scary, some of the things that are going, like what we see in the media versus what's actually happening over there. And it's not just conspiracy theories. It's like they are fully tracking people, and neighbors will report on neighbors. People will report on others. It's crazy. It's very interesting because they operate like a capitalist society, but they're communists, right? So they embrace capitalism to an extent, until the CEO starts speaking out against the CCP, and then somehow there's fraud involved. I do like mayors. You have people that are managing certain cities in funds, and they are caught mismanaging or not, doing their job. I guess they're either thrown in prison or they're shot. I don't think it would be nice to see people in certain political power or local legislation, people that are responsible. That definitely keeps you accountable. It would be neat to see something like that here, where if you're caught, under the table or bad deals, that you're held, you need to be held accountable and responsible.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, that's way off topic investing, but yeah.
Well, man, I sometimes am shocked how fast this goes, but I'm gonna hang out for a few minutes after, but I know it's a little past 11 already. So if you guys gotta jump off, feel free to jump off. Next week we're gonna have Joel from New Wealth Advisors Club on, I believe. And you know how I was talking about earlier, like we should try to think of some things to do together, you know, as a group. And Joel and his team, they're thinking about getting back into like live meetups and stuff. So who knows, we can try to organize something. We might be working alongside them in that fashion, just to get everything back going face to face. You know, I kind of miss those meetups now. So he'll be on this next week, Friday. And I think he's gonna be talking about technology, you know, because technology is a big thing, and on the lending side, it's always asking about what type of tech do you guys have or are you using. We had a guy interested in purchasing our fund, Keiko Capital, acquiring, and one of the questions was what type of tech do we have, you know, and our back end systems and stuff. And we just upgraded, but it's a big topic. And Joel has had some great insights when I had him on the phone. So I was like, you know what, would you be able to come share with everybody on the call? So, and he said, absolutely. And then we'll talk about some plans. Maybe we can all brainstorm together about, you know, bringing us together in person, you know, in some fashion. And then I know everyone's not in Hawaii, you know, in other states, but we'll plan some stuff, you know, to bring this out to everybody. I want to meet everybody one day in person, right? So, but with that, I hope you guys all have a great Father's Day weekend. Enjoy time with the family, and we'll be back at it, you know, first thing Monday morning. Monday morning is favorite day of the week. So we'll see you guys next week. Have a great Friday, and aloha, everyone.
All right, good to see you guys.
Take care.
Happy Friday. Guys, thanks, Tom. Thanks for jumping on, man.
Man, happy Father's Day, everybody.